Does the etheric realm affect us in the physical realm? What kind of dynamics does the spiritual realm have on our physical health? What does it do to us psychologically and emotionally, if anything at all? If we go to the doctors and have been diagnosed with something, do we have to take a medication for the rest of our life? Or can we dig deeper and find out information that can give us relief for the rest of our life? Let's look at that and more in today's Awaken Activate. Since time immemorial, the study of disease and its remedies has captivated humankind. Today, modern medical science has gained prominence and widespread acceptance as the preferred method of curing disease. The advances in modern medicine have made clear the physical and psychological causes behind various diseases. However, what remains, the reasons behind many diseases are not completely understood by modern medical science. It is important to understand the causes behind any disease for obvious reasons, like curing the disease. It is equally important to understand why one person out of two gets ill, where both had an equal chance of catching the disease. Modern medical science explains a lot about the first point, but it is at odds to say much about the second point. Many times in modern medical science, treating a disease means treating the symptoms or signs of the disease. Therefore, many of the diseases, even after the symptoms have been suppressed, one must continue treatment throughout one's life to keep them suppressed without curing the disease itself. Then, as there is no permanent cure, one must endure the physical and psychological distress associated with the disease, along with the side effects of the treatment. All of us have experienced physical illness in some form or another. It could be a mild symptom like a runny nose or something more serious like renal stones, cancer, or AIDS. Our difficulties cause root problems in life, health problems included, that can be physical, psychological, and/or spiritual. Modern medical science has uncovered only the physical and psychological causes of physical illness. This graph or chart gives a breakdown on average of the root causes of problems and difficulties in our lives. Spiritual research has indicated that up to 80% of the causes of problems in life have their root cause in the spiritual realm. It is important to note that any given physical symptom could have a portion of the root cause in the physical, psychological, or spiritual dimension, and that they are not mutually exclusive. Most of us are unaware that the difficulties in our lives are actually spiritual problems 80% of the time. Whether a particular problem has a spiritual root cause can be known for sure only through a highly connected medium of a highly activated sixth sense. Ignorance about the existence of the spiritual dimension and knowing its role in our difficulties will frustrate attempts to fully overcome the difficulties, simply because it exists beyond the five senses, mind, and intellect. Let us look at the role of the spiritual realm in the problems it causes in our lives. Sixth sense, or extraordinary perception ability, is our ability to perceive the unknown dimensions or the unseen world or realm. It also includes our ability to understand the etheric, the cause and effect relationship behind many events which are beyond the understanding of the intellect. Extrasensory perception, ESP, clairvoyance, premonition, intuition are synonymous with sixth sense or extrasensory perception ability. Throughout this video, I will use the word sixth sense, ESP, extrasensory perception ability, or reconnection to the divine mind interchangeably. We perceive the mass or seen world through the five physical senses, i.e. smell, taste, sight, touch, and sound. Our mind, in brackets feelings / emotions, end bracket, and our intellect, decision-making capacity when it comes to the unseen world or the ether world, we perceive it through the five enhanced senses. The intuitive mind and the gnosis intellect, this is what is known as our sixth sense. When the sixth sense is developed or activated, it helps us to experience the unseen world or other dimensions. This experience of the unseen world is also known as a spiritual experience. It is through the sixth sense that seekers have obtained divine knowledge on different topics such as life after death, Kundalini awakening, and other coming events. The world is made from cosmic principles. These cosmic principles cannot all be seen, but do help make up all of creation. When our sixth sense gets activated, we begin to perceive these cosmic principles progressively, beginning from the most obvious, tangible, to the more unseen and visible with enhanced, acute senses activated. What we begin to gather intuitively can be hard to believe is going on at first, though we can perceive through heightened enhancements within as these activations begin. We can feel a bit overwhelmed or try to deny it's happening. I assure you that you are not the first person to have this happen to you. Think on the information shared about the group tested speaking in tongues and tested while singing a gospel song, and the results of the brain scan showed improved blood flow and that they would not suffer mental illness. The findings all matched and were conclusive with all test subjects. As the sixth senses activations, we perceive the elements with our intuition, and our journey as an explorer of the cosmic principle begins. We want to know what's going on in us, and that is a natural response. Some will study the stars and the sun and the moon cycles, other scriptures and old texts or hieroglyphs. Some will dive deep within. We know something is going on within us and want to know more about this amazing phenomena. We seem to resonate and be drawn to the elements, them being fire, earth, water, air, and now ether, through our sixth sense activation. The enhancement to our sense of smell, taste, vision, touch, sound, thought, and emotion are a major factor in the journey of unveiling mysteries about who we are, where we are, and a desire to commune with the Creator of all. I want to share a graph with you. The graph I'm about to share is to inform you and not to cause alarm to anyone. Remember, no matter what the outcome is, we grow from the experience. I only ask that you know yourself well before any of us offer assistance as a teacher, healer, or making bold proclamations on dreams and visions, without at least weighing out the effects each action has on our brothers and sisters. The most important message here today is to come to our full identity and to be connected to the divine mind, higher self, the Holy Spirit, God Almighty, as you will see the accuracy of what you see, say, hear, and do comes into being at rates that double from the intuitive sixth sense activation. The table provides examples of positive and negative spiritual experiences that we may perceive through our sixth sense, that is, through the medium of the 5 acute senses before the connection to the universal mind or the divine mind. Okay, here's that graph. It's examples of a spiritual experience. And basically what we're talking about, it would be like having 2 different levels of awareness, practitioners or people who have had their sixth sense opened up, and how they do and what they apply it towards, and the results that come from it. And remember, everything is through discernment and perception. So in this graph, it says that, it goes across this, the sense, and then, of course, the element, and then is it a positive or a negative? So they give an example of both under each sense and under each element, which is the, the cosmos elements to creation. All right, so the first one says sense is smell, and the element is earth. And the positive that came from it is getting a fragrance of sandalwood in the absence of the apparent source. And the negative was getting a smell of urine in the house without a cause. And the second one down says taste. And the element used in this one is water. And the positive outcome is a taste of sweetness in the mouth without having actually put anything in their mouth. And the negative is experiencing a bitter taste in the mouth. And I'm not talking about when you first wake up in the morning, you guys. And the third one down is sight under the senses. And the element used is fire. And the outcome on the positive is a vision of a deity perceiving an aura. And what they perceived as a negative is seeing a ghost. What if that ghost is a lost loved one you wanted to see? See, it's all in perspective. A fourth one down is touch, and the element used is air. And the feeling is a feeling of a hand being placed on the head in the absence of anyone around. You ever had your hair stand up on end, that tingly feeling? Okay, and the negative is being assaulted at night by a ghost, and in brackets a demon, devil, negative energy, etc. Well, we start having dreams and visions and going OBE. It can be pretty scary when you don't know what's going on. So again, perception, observation. And the last one on the list is sound. And the element is ether. And the results on a positive is hearing bells or a sound in the absence of bells. And in a negative, it was hearing strange, threatening voices around in the absence of anyone. The sixth sense and spiritual awareness accuracy graph is what I'm about to show you. Now, remember, you guys, everything is subjective, okay? But as our spiritual level goes on increasing, we can progressively perceive a greater extent of the etheric world through our acute perception and ability that is our sixth sense. The following table shows the relationship between our sixth sense and our spiritual level of awareness. I'm going to show you a graph, an image, and you can see that with just the sixth sense, with our acute 5 senses, and even using elements and everything of that nature, the highest level that we could achieve, which is actually pretty good. You see that the highest level perceived is with all 5 enhanced sense organs, everything activated is achieved at a 70% spiritual level. With further increase in the spiritual level, there's no further increment in the perception through the 5 sense organs. However, the universal consciousness, or what I call the divine mind, or being reconnected the Kundalini awakening, the born from above experience. We continue and then increase, and we tune into that universal mind. We get from the place that has it all and sees us perfect. Sixth sense, ability, and spiritual level. It's the percentage of knowledge gained through your spiritual percentage of person, or how much, time and what's gone on in your life, what's transpired. We all move it at our pace, and like I said, it's not a race. The activation of your sixth sense, which gets everything into hyper awareness. You may have dreams, visions, out of body experiences. You may start speaking in different languages. You may be able to channel. You may be able to heal people. You can feel energies. You can be clairsentient, clear audio. You can hear thoughts, intentions. You can feel people's energies. You can tell if somebody wants to do you harm or if they just love you to pieces. There's so much that gets going on with these activations. It's to try to sum it up in a word, it would be too difficult. And then we've got the connection to the divine, the universal most high. To take a look at this graph here, it says sixth sense, ability, and the spiritual level. This is to understand the level of spirituality that has been attained by one, and with the activation of the six acute senses, meaning our intuition and our sixth sense activation, and the difference that it makes when we connect to the divine or the universal or the most high, how it enhances everything tremendously. So if you are a person at a 40% spiritual level, activated with the sixth sense intuition, you'll operate at a 10% accuracy rate, versus if you're connected to the divine universal mind or the most high, you will hit at a 40% spiritual level, 40% accuracy. And then up to 50, you will hit with the intuitive five sense acute activation. You'll hit at a 30% accuracy, and connected to the divine, 50%. And then, as you can see, the graph goes up. Now, if you look at the center one, activated in the sixth sense, with your acute five senses enhanced, you plateau out. After 60%, there is no further growth in the development of the accuracy. And this graph shows that you would have all five activations at 100% active. So let's say you only have a couple of the activations going, that will also affect the accuracy. And the most, if you have all five, is 70% accuracy. Where if you look over to being connected to the Most High, the divine mind, the universal consciousness, it still grows and exceeds as you move up with your spiritual level or spiritual awareness about self. Here's some examples of spiritual manifestation effects on the physical body and what each of them can mean. We're going to list the type of illness and what it does. First one is asthma. It's ego pressure. Personal ego desires are conflicting with one's commitments to others. Bleeding, releasing genetic history, letting go of past patterns inherited from one's family or society. Cancer, an unnatural self-image, considering oneself inhuman or wrong in one's, in bracket, usually intimate relationship, in bracket, or lifestyle. Next one is chills and coldness, incoming new patterns, evolutionary inspiration underway. Third one is diabetes, sweetness crisis, enforced squelching of anger over long periods of time. usually family enforced patterns. Next one is eczema, skin rashes. They're abrasion crisis, having to tolerate unacceptable contacts or activities. Next one is emphysema, telepathic overload, drowning, inexpressive interpersonal emotions towards oneself. Next one is fevers and infections. It's ego transcendence, releasing old patterns of self-identity and behavior. The next one is gout, pampered temper, a self-image in permanent pout. Numbness and weakness is avoidance crisis. Something is being abdicated or denied. Pain, however it is caused. Inflamed focus, a problem area is being pointed out. Next one is palsy, uncontrollable spasm, response crisis, not knowing how to react to others or situations. And the last one on this list is pneumonia, depression crisis, drowning in self-pity over things that cannot be fixed except by forgiveness. The chart that you're looking at shows the majority of today's population is between 20 and 29% in their spiritual levels. Presently, the world is plagued by a number of problems. The problems are varied and can range from problems of a personal type, such as drug addictions and marital disharmony, to problems that society and countries are faced with, such as communal violence, wars, and natural disasters. This state of the world is primarily due to the reason that both the people and their leaders are predominantly at a lower spiritual level. It follows that the current state of the world can be corrected if the average spiritual level of mankind increases. This can only change if the people undertake spiritual practice on a regular basis. And as you guys have been looking at that chart, it's pretty astounding to find out, this should make you feel special just to know that you're seeking, you're curious, and you know there's more. Let's see, it says that they used the research methodology to provide a breakdown of the world's population in the year 2016 by spiritual level based on the 7.3 billion people, the spiritual level of the world's population in 2016. And it says spiritual level in the first column, and then percent of the world's population, and then number of people. First box says 20 to 29%, and in this, the box right over the percentage of the population is 63%. So it's 4.599 billion people. We're at the spiritual level of 20 to 29%. 30 to 39% was 33% of the population at 2.409 billion. 40 to 49%, only 4% of the population, 0.292 billion. 50 to 59% says negligible, 15,000. 60 to 69% negligible, 5,000. 70 to 79% again negligible, 100 to the third power. 80 to 89% negligible, 20 to the third power. 90 to 100% negligible, 10 to the third power. And then we've got some footnotes here. Number one, based on the world's population estimation by census of the government's 7.3 billion people as of February 2016. Number 2, the spiritual level of a saint is 70% and above. Number 3, there are approximately 1,000 states between the spiritual level of 70 and 100. However, here we have only shown the numbers of saints and gurus who are actively spreading spirituality. Well, again today we covered a bunch of information, my goodness gracious, from our health and well-being and how it can actually be tied to the etheric realm, activations, getting in touch with our intuition, activating the acute 5 senses, which gets us into mediumship, but still going for the gold, being connected to the one. Several graphs, several things to look at, tons of information. And the next one I'm going to do is going to be on how can we, develop and gauge our spiritual health and development. So I'm going to put together something from a few articles that I've looked at. So it's not something you answer to me or anything. It's personal. It's something for you to know because everybody's walk is unique. But on that note, I want to share a few more little morsels as we head out for the end of this one. And this is talking about protecting yourself and the level of spiritual awareness that we need to be at based on that article from the graph I just showed you, what their thoughts are on this. And it says the only sure and sustainable way to insulate ourselves from ghosts, it's got something in brackets, but I'm not going to read that, is to grow spiritually. At the 20 to 30% spiritual level, we are very vulnerable to an attack from all types of ghosts. At this level, any ghost can possess us as they please, as we are not in a position to benefit from the protection by God. Then it says spiritually level, on the spiritual level of like a mentally challenged person. Spiritual level of a mentally challenged person is 19% as compared to the majority of human beings who are at about 20% spiritual level. The reason for this is the mentally challenged person lacks the intellect. Intellect is a function of the basic activation component, enhances our spiritual development. Hence, the spiritual level is less than an average person. Spiritual level of an evil person. Ooh, okay. The spiritual level of an evil person who harms society, such as a corrupt politician, gangster, terrorist, etc., are often below 20% and can dip as low as 10%. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you guys got a lot out of this. It makes sense, why we're so few and far between, and we kind of, don't really fit in a whole lot of places. And it's not that we're bad people. We love everybody. It's just how it kind of works, I still enjoy talking to people. I still enjoy learning. I grow every single day, as should we all. And we should always share what we know and listen so we can grow. You guys have yourself a wonderful day.